What up, what up? Back at it again. It's me and the boys. I'm your boy Gabe. I'm here wearing my Heat culture because you know what? It's that time of year. That's JoJo down there. JoJo, say what's up to the people.
What it do? You already know. Special entrance jersey today. Got that Heat number 6. LeBron James on my back.
Didn't you scrub off the Adidas logo?
Game 1 tonight. Are you ready?
Well, unexplicable reasons. Julian's wearing a Cubs. All of a sudden, he's a Cubs fan. All of a sudden, I don't know.
Apparently,
it just looks dope.
Listen, man, he's been in Chicago probably like one and a half times, and now he's a Cubs fan. And then tomorrow he's gonna be a Marlins fan.
Oh,
and
Gabe,
the day after that, whoever's winning, that's who he's gonna root for. Well, introduce yourself, Julian, for our new listeners, new viewers, new fans of Real Fans Podcast.
Yes, after 2 long years, we find slowly but surely we are gaining subscribers, and we just hit 100 subscribers, hitting triple digits. We're hoping that the next 100 happens a lot faster, but yeah.
Yeah.
So is there like a confetti sound? Is there like an applause?
Yeah, you had production before. We don't have no production.
I got no production, man. Hold up. Let me see if I can find something.
Yo, 100 subscribers and you're terminated. There we go.
He's producing.
Oh, bring some hype into that, man. Come on, yo. It's a milestone for us. It's a milestone. You gotta celebrate.
Thank you all. Thank you to all the listeners, all the subscribers. We appreciate y'all. Hey, y'all been checking out the Real Fans FC, so check that out. Julian, we don't talk enough soccer on this thing, and guess what? I'm not an expert, but Julian likes to talk with his boys over Real Fans FC, so y'all check that out because that's our second kind of podcast to go. So thank y'all for that. But first, we must start this weekend. The NFL. Of course, we have to start with the NFL. Why would we not start with the NFL? No, I just want to bring up the story real quick. We were supposed to talk about it last week, but I kind of brushed Julian off. The story with Hopkins out of Arizona. I was like, I don't care about the NFL. It's we're in the summer. Who cares about it? But actually he got released. Big news. Crazy. I guess he didn't have any value. Like, wasn't worth trading. He just straight up got dropped from the Arizona Cardinals. So I'll shoot it to Julian. So we
middle of his contract, if I'm not mistaken.
That's why I'm surprised. I'm like, he didn't even get traded. But Julian updated on the story because we were supposed to talk it last time, but literally once we stopped recording, like literally that afternoon, like it was official that he got dropped. So just NFL real quick. This will be our only NFL story we're going to talk about today.
No, I mean, it was really weird. Like, yeah, you would have thought that they would have tried to move on from him, get something out of him. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to look now to see if like maybe something came out to why they released him, but I don't know if Gabe, you've heard anything. But I thought it was super, super odd that they just got rid of him. So now, I mean, he's on the market. Everybody's clamoring for him right now. It looks like the big ones are the Patriots are interested, the Bills are interested, and now he's saying he would have considered a return to Houston, which I think is kind of odd. But to me, I mean, he's going to go somewhere to a contender for sure. I mean, like at his age, he is now 30 years old on the dot. So I don't know why he would go back to Houston, which is in a complete rebuild. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty wild because I mean, like it was literally right after last week's podcast we got off, and then boom, it's like he gets released. So I'm trying to find the details here. I mean, I don't see anything why he would leave, but I mean, where do you guys see him going next? Like, it looks like it's all up to him now.
Yeah,
so maybe
he's a free agent.
Maybe he did. Maybe there's something like they didn't want to deal with the trade aspect, but I still feel like he could have got something for him at the end of the day instead of just dead cap money.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a valuable, veteran. He still has a skill. I would love to see him on the Dolphins. I don't know how they make that happen, how they make the money work, but him being like a number 3 behind Waddle and behind Tyreek Hill, like that would be a trifecta.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I mean, come on. We know Tyreek is number 1. Waddle, a healthy Waddle is going to be your number 2. That's going to be speed. But I think it's going to be completely up to him. I know he released all the teams that he wanted to go to already. He already kind of announced he was like the Chiefs, or did he say Baltimore?
That would be scary.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you went to Baltimore right now with some of the pieces they picked up, that new contract, it'll look really good.
So right now, It says the Chiefs and the Bills were reportedly actively interested in acquiring Hopkins prior to his release and believed to still have interest into signing him now that he's a free agent.
I mean, everybody's going to be interested. All 32 teams are going to be interested. You have a free agent like that.
There's still one team you guys didn't mention here, and that's the Broncos, man. I hope we go out for him.
Hey, you never know. I mean, you never know. I think
if we get him, just give us the division.
Yeah. I think at his age, I mean, jumping onto an automatic winner, automatic playoff teams, like I said, something like the Chiefs, the Bills, an automatic playoff team. I'm gonna say the Dolphins. Dolphins in a wild card. A team like that, he's gonna be an automatic plug and play. I think it'll be easy. Like from what I've heard, like he definitely had a falling out with Arizona. I can't tell you the specifics. I don't know the specifics of what exactly happened in Arizona. But for the most part, he hasn't been really much of a troublemaker, too much of a hothead. That I've seen that I can recall. I don't know a lot of Hopkins controversy that happens in his career, but he's definitely still valuable. He's going to give you, he's a big body. He's tall. He's big. He can still run. So any team, he's going to be great on any team that he wants to jump on. And I feel like he's going to have the pick of the litter. Like he's going to just decide where he wants to live. You know what I mean?
Okay, so here's a little bit of insight of everything that happened. So it says by releasing Hopkins now, the Cardinals will save $8.15 million in cap space, but are still going to hit a dead cap hit of $22 million, which is a huge hit that they're taking. And he's under contract through the 2024 season, or was under contract to the 2024 season. Yeah. But apparently the Cardinals couldn't deal him, and it looks like that they just want to move forward without him. So it looks like it was just like it didn't matter. They just wanted him out, which is still kind of, I don't know. I mean, I feel like,
do you think,
I don't know, unless he really was
going into a rebuild, like a little quiet rebuild, because they had a failed season last season.
I mean, they have to. I mean,
Compared
they tried to kind of
expectations.
I mean, Chandler Jones is old. J.J. Watt's retired. Like, I mean, a lot of that offensive line is beat up. Like, I mean, they kind of have to, honestly. I mean, and then, look, man, I was always saying, like, I was always super skeptical of Kyler Murray getting that massive deal. Like, to me, that was like, look, you're going to pay this man all that money, and he hasn't even won a playoff game? Yeah. They started off the season 10-0 and then dropped to go 10-7 and get just knocked out. And he's like, come on, like, you got to prove yourself at least. Like, fuck, even Daniel Jones won a damn playoff game. Like,
yeah. And it definitely disappointing. I'm high on Kyler Murray. Hopefully, he can prove he has. This is a prove it. Like, are you worth it? Because if he can't turn this around, at least have a decent season this year. I mean, it's kind of all the rumors they say about him might be true. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what you do with him if he doesn't work out. I mean, do you try to trade? I guess somebody would take a flyer on him. I can't imagine like.
I mean, he's a first round pick.
No one would. Yeah, I mean, it's the first over. Somebody would try it in their system. Maybe they feel like, I mean, Kingsbury's gone now, so they're going to bring in a new coach. I think they're going to see how that goes. And maybe that's part of the reason why they got rid of DeAndre too, is that the coach just didn't want him. But yeah, it looks like the Bills, the Patriots, the Ravens, and the Chiefs are all looking reportedly interested amongst other teams. But those are the four hot ones right now. So if you had to pick him to go anywhere, where do you think he best slots in at?
Oh, dude.
I mean, as of right now, aside for the Broncos, obviously, I'm not going to be biased here, but I think the Bills really need him. Yeah. Bills haven't been able to get over that hump.
They need that hump. They need a veteran.
Listen, you got the Chiefs, who's been dominating them last couple of years, and now you got the Bengals with Joe Burrow. That's another, set of competition with Joe Burrow against Josh Allen, and Josh Allen just hasn't been able to get over the hump, and they need all the help they can get at this point. We know what they can do in the regular season. When it comes playoff time, what's going to be the difference maker?
Yeah. I'm just looking, just kind of give you context of like, because what Julian brought
the Jets and the Cowboys too, apparently.
Jets.
Throw that in there.
If he wants to go to New York.
With Aaron Rodgers.
If he wants to go to New York. I don't know. Defense. Also, I don't know what the connections are. I got to figure out what school he went to. But I just want to give some context because I'm looking
at. He went to Clemson.
Oh, Clemson?
I remember that. I actually remember him coming out.
For Arizona, the biggest, you talked about the cap hit earlier, Julian. The biggest cap hit they got is Budda Baker, $16 million, Kyler Murray, $16 million, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, $13 million, Zach Ertz, $12 million, DJ Humphries, their left tackle, 12. So it seems like offensively, besides Buda Baker, a lot of their money is on that offense. And they I don't know, we'll see how they come out. Like I said, Marquise Brown is probably their biggest name. Zach Ertz. And they have James
that rookie last year, Rondell Moore, he wasn't bad either for them. He's a solid, nice little piece. But I mean, I think he has to go somewhere where he's a number 2. I don't know if he still has what it takes to be just a number 1, like double team guy still. Like, to me, he has to have another like receiver to complement him. I could see in New York. I mean, you have the offensive player, the offensive rookie of the year, with Garrett Wilson on one side of him. So then he would be on the other side to free those two up. Like you said, the Bills, Diggs, him. I don't see the Patriots, even though the Patriots desperately need a wide receiver.
Turn around.
He's not going to want to go to the Patriots. The Patriots are not ready to win yet. There's not even a lot of faith around Mac Jones. Yeah. The Chiefs obviously you can slot him right in there with their whole core of receivers that they have, because they're a receiver by committee. That's the Chiefs have always been a receiver by committee since Tyreek left. Obviously, Kelsey's going to do his thing, but as for the wide receivers, he would automatically go in there and be the best wide receiver in there.
I think
we've seen Mahomes make magic out of whatever was left.
No names, a bunch of no names.
Juju Smith-Schuster washed up. So I mean, to me, like, he's got to go. Cowboys. I mean, Cowboys is an option, but I mean, I don't
want to put yourself in that situation. Listen, with your quarterback. The turnovers, bro. I think that would just frustrate the shit out of
man. But I tell you what, him and CeeDee Lamb would be a really good duo.
That would be a problem. See, that's what I'm saying. He can pick the litter. He can go anywhere, even if it doesn't.
He's definitely I think he definitely needs to go somewhere where he's not the number 1 guy. He needs to be like a second, like
where all the attention wide receiver on him at all times. Yeah, I mean, that would be really dope for him.
I don't think he's that guy anymore. Like I mean. He had 64 catches and 717 yards. So a decent season, and he only played 9 games. So I mean, not bad. He was on track to hit 1,000. But I would really like to see him Bills would be lethal. Oh my God. Like, I can't even imagine that. Like,
I know, to me, the two like, hell no, he doesn't want him to go to the Bills
or the Jets. I mean, to me, he's either going to the Jets or the Bills. Like, one of those. You go throw with Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Julian didn't even throw out Jacksonville yet. You don't want to
exactly. You don't want to see him in Jacksonville.
You want to see him in your city?
It's a crowded room. I mean, there was talks. I mean, he did tweet out something that he's like, I think somebody said like Jacksonville, and he tweeted out like eyes or something like that. Like,
oh shit.
There has been like links to Jacksonville now that we're actually good and people want to come here now or go there now. I don't know. I don't think he's worth it for us. Like, I think we already are pretty cap strapped anyways. Which that's something you got to think about. I mean, we got a lot of money tied up. I mean,
I'm looking right now at the money.
Someone like the Jets with a lot of rookies and a lot of people on cheap rookie deals, and then you got the Bills who aren't really paying a lot of money either.
Who are performing.
And you got the Bills who aren't really paying a lot of money outside of Josh Allen and Diggs. Like, they got the space for it. For like the Jags, I mean, look, if you can make it work, you make it work. But like, I'm not like clamoring for him either at the same time. Like, I just don't think we need him. And for at what cost? You
gotta pull him out the discount bin. You can't. If I can go real quick, also,
if he wants to come and win one, like, we'll do that. Like, if you want. Take us to our first Super Bowl.
Yeah, take that veteran minimum. If I look at top 10 teams, so the top 10 to 1, so I'm going to go from the bottom to the top. Patriots, Packers, Texans, Jets. The Cardinals just released him. Lions, Colts, Cowboys, Panthers, and Bears have the most. That's from that's about 15 million and up. 15 million to 32 million. They have the most cap space from 10.
I'm surprised the Bears aren't in that race.
Wow. Do you really want to play for the Bears? I'd like Justin Fields, but I don't know, man. That So it seems like a long project. I think
him alongside.
He's a veteran, man. You got to win now.
This is going to be what year three for Fields, right? So this is like pretty much the proving season.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Fields has shown enough. The problem with the Bears, just to get a little off topic, is just they just have that team was dog shit. That team was so bad. Now they're slowly starting to get better, but no, he's definitely going to a contender though. I mean. Even this one I'm looking at says the Browns, but he ain't going to the Browns. To
play with Watson?
Oh, well, I mean, he could play with Watson again. Yeah, but
he had to play with Watson.
But maybe. Watson ain't Watson no more. So, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe Watson needs him to be Watson again. Who knows?
Maybe Hopkins carried Watson. I mean,
shit.
So that's it. That's it for our NFL stuff. That's just, we want to just drop it real quick. Again, that's an old story that I like I said, I shushed Julian away. Let's talk about the playoffs, man, because we in the playoffs, player. Listen, South Florida is on fire right now. I know Julian's wearing his Cubs. He's a fake Chicago fan all of a sudden. But you know what? Julian, down in his heart, he's a hockey fan. He likes hockey. Before he coughs in the radio, you gotta thank you for muting that off. But let's talk about this hockey run. As we're recording this on Thursday, the Panthers don't play until Sunday. Obviously, we're on the road. We came in as an 8-seed wild card. Freaking blew past the Bruins, blew past the New York Knicks of hockey, the Maple Leafs. We blew past Carolina. Carolina was a tough series, but it was a sweep. We brought the brooms on them. So now we're gonna go to Las Vegas on Sunday. Julian,
Saturday.
Saturday? It's not Sunday. Oh, Saturday. My bad. Julian knows more than I.
Too many games going on in South Florida to keep up right now. You gotta write it out on the calendar because they're gonna be. It's gonna be the Panthers one day and then the Heat the next game.
Yeah, so, I'm glad they alternated like that. Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, it seems like we've been waiting now since the last time because pretty much the Panthers have been waiting for that Dallas series to finish, the Dallas Stars versus Vegas Knights. So, Julian, let's talk about our Panthers. How do you feel about this series? It's been since a long time since the Panthers have made a run like this.
I mean, we talked about it like last week. Like, to me, it's you got to win it now. Like, you got to win it. Like, you've gone through the gauntlet. You've gone through the two best teams in the East. You've beat the New York Knicks of the hockey and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, now look, don't get me wrong. Vegas is a good team. Vegas was a top team in the West. But at the end of the day, they were not the Bruins. The Bruins were literally a historic team this year. And you got to get it done. Like, you have to. Like, it's just one of those, like... And look, I don't think this is going to be an easy sweep either. Like, I think this is going to go to 6 or 7. And I think Saturday is going to really set the tone. And I think Vegas got a little comfortable in last series, and they let them come back, and then Vegas just absolutely obliterated Dallas.
It wasn't even close, dude. It was
6-0.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, man, I'm feeling good. I think as long as you got your goaltender and your goalie, like Bobrovsky, who's playing like he's playing.
He's the hottest goalie. He's the hottest goalie right now in the playoffs.
Like, you're unstoppable at that point. Like, there's no. He's on an incredible run, one of the best runs in playoff history for a goaltender. So, like, when you have your goalie performing like that, like, dude, that's how you win series. Like, that's just how it is. Like, you can only score so much, and if you keep letting teams come back, like, it's gonna be super hard to win. But if you could stop another team from scoring, like, that's so huge.
Defense wins championships, right? Yeah. So if you can't score a goal.
And you're coming in this series healthy too. You're coming in super healthy. You're having no injuries. Yeah. Barkov might still be a little like banged up. Who knows? But he had a long rest. So I mean, with the sweep, so they had some time. So I mean, I'm expecting a series win. Like, you got to get it done, and I think they will. Like, unlike the other team in South Florida, I don't have faith. But yeah, I mean, Gabe, how are you feeling?
I mean, about this.
Like, what are you expecting out of this?
I expect this to be tough, but I feel like, we've been through the fire, right? I feel like the Panthers have been through the fire, right? We faced the toughest team in NHL history, the best regular season record, and we went 7 games with them, and we came out on top. We faced the Maple Leafs, who were like the Knicks of hockey. They talk a lot of trash, but they haven't won in a long ass time. We went through them. And Carolina
sweep the second best team.
But now Carolina is not a soft team. Carolina's not an easy team. They're they're kind of the top of the conference. They
were second.
Yeah. They've always been around for like the past 4 or 5 years. And again, the Panthers have made for the past 4 years of the Panthers. They've been making this run of like they slowly been progressing, right? They show us a little bit. They get into the playoffs, which you haven't been in a long time. They get into the second round. We keep heading butt heading with the Lightning, and now finally they're making a run. We make a big ass trade. Matthew Tkachuk is he's shooting very well for us. Obviously Barkov come off injury. I'm trying to look at his injury and stuff, but Bobrovsky again. I apologize. Bobrovsky. I wanted to trade you 2 years ago. I wanted to trade you 2 years ago. I was like, who is this guy? We're paying him. He's like one of the highest paid goalies ever. And you know what? He's showing up. All right. Big Stop Bob is what I'm going to call him. Okay. Big Stop Bob.
He was a Blue Jackets legend. He played at Columbus. He played at Columbus for like 8 years or something like that. And then before that, he played at the Flyers.
And he played well. So. And it was like this thing of like, okay, we're getting a good goalie. The expectation is very high. And when he came in, I was kind of, there's ebbs and flows. And coming into the season, especially towards the end of the season, I was like, man, I don't really know, man. We're barely getting to the playoffs, and again, they face the biggest team and turning around, and so I'm all in, man. I'm all in. I'm all Panthers. I'm throwing my rats. I believe what you said, Julian. They're right. You have to win right now. Like this is the hottest that we've ever been. I don't know how long this is gonna last. Thank God we have Matthew Tkachuk for a long time. We got him when he in his prime. He's gonna be around, so hopefully, barring injuries, but. You have to win now. This is. It feels like this is our moment. Like if there's any chance to take a Stanley Cup, it feels like now is the moment. Like we cannot mess around and be like, oh well, maybe we'll be there next year. It's like no, this is the moment.
So I do have to ask, right? Oh, hold on. So Las Vegas, right? Where did they end up seeding wise? In their division.
They were up there.
Las Vegas won their division. Yeah, they won it. Actually, they're the best team in the West. They're the best team in the West. They had 100.
Number one seed.
Yeah, they had 11. They had 111 points on into the season.
Yeah. Shit. So you're playing the best in the West right now.
Yeah, but we went to the best in the East, so it's like.
But the East was better this year. It just it was. If Vegas was in the East, Vegas would be a wild card team. Yeah, they would be a wild card team.
Wait, they'd be that far down, Vegas?
Well, how it works is like you clinch the divisions, and then you have so you get the winner of the division gets in, and then it's the bottom three, the next three. So the top four of each division make it. They would be like second place. They would be like third place in both. Yeah, in both divisions, they would be third place in the East. So. But nonetheless, they're still a good team. Their team, man, they started straight out of expansion. They've just been good. I think their first year in the NHL, didn't
they win? They won, right?
No, they made it.
Yeah,
I think they won. Did they win?
No, they went to a finals. They definitely went to a finals.
They went,
first year. And I felt so bad for them because I was like, yo, if this is like you're a brand new team and your first run in a playoffs is like we're in the finals, we're in the Stanley Cup finals, so like. You can only go down from there. Like, there's no that's the expectation to have for that entire season. Like every year, like that team should. If you go to the finals, I expect you to go every time, and that's kind of like a high bar to set, especially for a first year, second year team. But they've been doing well. So
how good of a sports city can Vegas be? I mean,
they're gonna get football soon.
Like they're getting so many teams, and it's just
LeBron wants to get basketball over there. Vegas is so popping.
I mean, now the Oakland A's got the new stadium renderings and all that. Yeah. It looks like they're on the way out of there. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, they just hijacked Oakland.
It's a new world, man. Vegas is about to be a New York,
and they deserve it. They deserve it.
LA.
Isn't F1 coming to Vegas soon? It should be. I think one of the next.
F1 they're having their first race this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but back to the game. I mean. Like I said, I think they win this in 6 or 7. It's going to be a tough series, but I have faith at them winning away. They've been winning away all playoffs long, so they don't give a fuck about home ice. So they're starting off 2 games in Vegas. I think they're going to go 1-1 there.
You got to split. You got to win one.
I think they're going to go split I think they're going to split on the road. I think they're going to split again and game. So it's going to be 2-2. And then I think they win 2 straight in 6. So I got Panthers in 6. What do you got, Gabe?
Yeah, Panthers in 6. You know what?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna agree with that. Panthers in 6. It'll be 6 or 7, but you know what? I'm gonna have a little faith in my Panthers. They've been playing well, and you know what? Regardless of the results, I just want to say it now because when we at the end of the season, whoever wins or loses, I'm so proud of this team. Like they've made it an extraordinary run. They've done the impossible. They made me proud to root for. I'm back in the hockey again. All right, this was a little love I had when I was a small little kid, playing little league. Again, I told you that story about my friend on the little league team. He had season tickets. We would throw the rats and shit. So it's fun in South Florida. They're making South Florida fun again this season. So I'm gonna go Panthers in 6.
And I don't think the Knights have been shut out all playoffs. They've actually been super high scoring all playoffs long. And yeah, they haven't been shut out once. So they're about to change that this series. So
yeah. And Golden Knights are favored. They're minus 35. I'm seeing ESPN is putting up minus 35, Panthers plus
Makes
115.
sense.
I mean, they're looking at seedings. Of course, Panthers, they're gonna be the underdogs into the end, right?
Yeah.
So you just gotta prove them wrong.
I mean, the Knights, the Knights 1-6. Eastern Conference Finals. Before that, they won in 6 against the Oilers, and then they won in 5 against the Winnipeg Jets. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't like they've really gone down to the wire either. I mean, they've been pretty much leading these series a lot. I mean, the only reason why some of them have even gone so far is the fact that they've kind of let them come back, but they have actually not been down in a series all playoffs.
No. And which is crazy.
They have not been down in a series.
It's a lot of winning, man.
A couple times.
There's a lot of winning around the Panthers, and like you said, this is the time you have to strike now because I don't know when I'll have this feeling ever again. It's been so long. I don't know when I'll ever get this playoff feeling.
It's something about a team that never wins is finally about to win. That even if you don't root for them, it's just it's great as long as it's not like the fucking Bruins or the Blackhawks again or something like that. That's just so tiring.
Yeah. So root for America too. Also, another non-Canadian team being in the playoffs. Canada somehow we're dominating your sport. Why can't you win the Leafs, the Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers? Anyway, all right. Here's what win. As I transition, I want to talk about because now we have our home teams are going away. The Panthers will be in Las Vegas. For game 1 and game 2, but game 3 will be in South Florida. I'm looking at FLA Arena. They have about 20,000 capacity, and right now you can buy a ticket $521, the cheapest ticket I can find right now. As I'm on the site.
I was just looking at that right now to compare the $521 for the Panthers to the Heat.
Yeah.
Wait, for the Panthers is $521?
$521 is the cheapest ticket right now. Game 3, I haven't looked at game 4, but game 3,
and that's without fees. That's without.
Yeah, that's what we don't know. Ticketmaster.
Yeah, that's another $100.
Ticketmaster's gonna
giving you the business.
They're gonna give you the business. But I just want to compare it to the Heat because Heat has about the same capacity, 19.6. So 20,000 for FLA, 19.6 for Kaseya Center. I'm gonna still call it AAA. I don't give a damn. Mama call it AAA. I'm gonna call it AAA. All right. But the cheap ticket there for the Heat game 3 is gonna be what did we say? It was $450. Was it a little bit cheaper?
I think the price went up.
Dude.
Oh man, it was I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
The thing I pulled up was $450, so around $450, $500. So it's a little bit cheaper to go to a Heat game right now. I mean, one of the seats. I mean, essentially comparable for a game 3, but I don't know how the season's gonna go. So Jojo, if you had to pick a game again? I know what you're gonna say because you're not really a hockey fan, and that's just a sunrise.
You know what's funny, Gabe? It's like you're reading my mind because I was gonna ask you two the same exact question. So you went ahead and jumped the gun, but I think this question is for you two because you already know my choice. I'm gonna choose the Heat game regardless. Not much of a hockey fan, but since you guys are passionate about both teams, in terms of pricing, location, hype, I mean, pretty much the Heat and Panthers had the same journey.
Yeah.
So that's not even comparable. That's the same exact journey.
About the same price ticket.
Both underdogs, both the lowest seeds, both pulling off upsets. Gabe, let's start with you. Let's switch this up to you.
Listen,
so choice between picking a game 3, right? Split decision. Who do you got?
Okay, mind you, if I lived in South Florida again, I live in Texas, but I'm still heat all the way, South Florida all the way, all of Miami.
Meanwhile, he's wearing a Cubs jersey.
I want to hear Julian's answer because Julian's
okay. He's just gonna pass it around.
Right,
I want to hear
we're
JoJo's answer.
But to answer his
give
question,
a fuck about hockey.
Hey,
No
good.
offense to anybody out there. Obviously, I'm gonna choose the Heat game if I'm gonna spend $500.
Yeah.
You will not see
Plus, you're
me
closer.
at a Florida Panthers game.
You're closer to the
spending
stadium.
$500.
You're closer to the arena. But if I had to pick, honestly, I will pick the Panthers, and here's why.
All right.
I seen the Heat win. I've been to championships. I've been to the parade. I had my 3 championships. I've seen the Heat be there. Now I know this is a new team, right? This is a new era. We're in post LeBron era.
Yeah.
You know, post the Heatos. So I'm still rooting for the Heat. And if I had a chance to go, JoJo, if you had tickets and you'd be like, hey, you wanna jump on? Hell yeah, I'm gonna fucking go to the Heat game. But if I had to pick and spend my own money, I'm gonna pick the Panthers because, again, this is old nostalgia. I'm going back.
And there goes Gabe.
Story time is over.
We didn't make it.
Oh, and there we go. Gabe, rewind like 20 seconds.
I have to pick the Panthers just because
okay, there we go.
It's a nostalgia pick, right? I've seen the Heat win, and I've been there. I've seen the Heat win. I would love to root for this team, but I've seen them win before. Even though we're in a new era, this is post LeBron. This is a new era of Heat, and I would love to see them win with Jimmy. But if I had to pick, me personally spending my own money, I'm gonna say the Panthers because the last time we had a run was in 1996. I don't know when we'll ever be back here ever again, and I just want to enjoy. Again, I'm rooting. I'm very happy with the Panther season overall. I'm very happy with the Heat season overall, how it's ended. But the Panthers have never done it, and I would like to be there for a game to see them if they can do this. If they can pull it off again, they're the underdogs. But if they can pull it off, I would like to say I went to a game.
I was gonna say that, like, I know it's a series, right? And you're only there for part of that, right? A small section of the grand scheme of the games, and to tell that story later on, right? Like, yo, game 3, here's what happened.
Yeah.
And whether you want to lose with the outcome, right? You're part of that history, right? First time ever, and especially under those circumstances, right? Just to experience it. So I feel like for you as a diehard, going way back in your history, like, if you had the option to go, I mean, it's kind of priceless, right? Like, that $500, like, that's a memory of a lifetime.
Yeah, and like I said, I've seen the Heat win. I'm still gonna root for them. I love them. JoJo, if you had an extra ticket, I'll go with you. Definitely go down. But I feel like this is newer. Like, the Panthers are a little bit newer, fresher. We haven't been there in a long time. And I would like to be a part of that history. Like, say I went there. I went to that game. Because we don't know. Maybe they lose 2 games in Las Vegas and they come home. And these might be the last 2 games we ever get to see the Panthers on this year. So I would like to be a part of that home stand. You know what I mean? For the Panthers. Julian, I don't know how you feel about which game you would pick.
For me, it's the Panthers. It's just like they've never done it before. It's the first time. Like, they've made it to the Stanley Cup, and it was before I was born in '96. And this could be the year, and not just like they made it. It's like this could be the year they do it. Like, this is like, I feel very confident that they can win it. The Heat, I don't feel as confident. Also too, like Gabe said, I've seen the Heat win. Like, for me, like, I remember being a little kid watching Shaq and Wade win that first one in 2006, beating the Mavericks. Like, I remember that. Like, to me, like that, I remember watching that on TV, staying up late watching that. But I've never seen it with the Panthers. And then also too, like, for me, like, this past like playoff cycle, I've been watching way more of the Panthers games than I have the Heat games because of this run.
So you're more invested.
So I'm a little bit more invested, and it's just like it. I don't know. I guess you get a little numb when you've seen them win before versus like the Panthers have never seen them win. It'll be the first time, like for me, like, yeah. I mean, look, I guess I count the Heat winning, like seeing like one of my teams win for the first time, but I guess like in my adult life, like it'd be the first time, like the Panthers would be the first time, I guess, like in a very long time since I've seen like one of my teams like actually win as I'm like actively rooting for them. And also too, winning the NHL is way harder.
Yeah.
It is way more difficult.
That's a tough sport, man. Hockey is very tough, dude.
I'm literally looking at it right now. The Panthers and the Knights are 2 of 12 active teams in the NHL that have never won a Stanley Cup. So now that number is officially going to go down to 11. So 12 teams.
With the history, because Vegas is new. Vegas is a new franchise. So,
and everybody knows, like, hockey playoffs are different. Like, I mean, we're seeing it here, like an 8th seed in the finals. Like that has happened before. I mean, with the LA Kings, like this is a common thing. Like you're always seeing upsets in hockey. It is so difficult to win because there's so much parity. There's so much like upsets. It's so tough to win. And then just to see like them do it. Like I've been following it. I feel really confident that they can win it, and I've never seen them win. They've never won, and I've never seen them go to the Stanley Cup. So, like, to me, like, this just means, like, a ton. And also, like, I mean, maybe because I'm just outside of Miami. Like, I've seen, like, all the stuff on social media, everybody beating the pans and everybody out there screaming down Calle Ocho. But, like, I guess maybe because I'm a little bit more in Broward. I mean, I'm still getting a lot of Heat hype. Like, you hear people talking about the Heat and everything, like, all around me. But, like, people are really pumped about the Panthers up here. Like, it's just, like, even, like, my girlfriend's job, like, they're talking about the Panthers. Like, because, like, it's kind of like, obviously it's, like, Broward's team. Even though everybody roots for the Heat at the end of the day.
It's not
kind
Florida.
of like, this is, like, really like, this is, like, in our backyard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but, I think
I was going to do a follow-up question for Julian. I didn't know you're that passionate about the Panthers, and I can understand the circumstances, right? That they've never won and the Heat has championships. But as far as passion for the sport goes, I was a little surprised to hear. Like, I didn't know you were into hockey or even a Panthers fan, like deeply rooted like that, as in like basketball, as you go way back with the Heat. So that was like interesting to hear.
All right, so I think
unless it's recent fandom because you live up in that area.
Well, it's like not that it's a recent. It's just like the Panthers. I mean, they went a long time without making the play. And for me, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not like a die-hard, passionate like fan of the Panthers. Don't get me wrong, I am a fan of the Panthers. I'll watch their games when it's on, but I'm not like tuning into every single game. Like I'm really kind of like a playoff guy. Like like towards the end of the season is when I really start to pick up and like watch to the end to see if they're gonna make the playoffs, and if they do make the playoffs. Again, but like most of my life, the Panthers have been, and Gabe can attest to this, they've been kind of ass. They've always been kind of bad. So I haven't really like watched it. But now, like the past few years, like when they've actually like gotten players that are stars and really good teams, like it's been exciting to watch. I've always watched hockey loosely. Obviously, like throughout my life, I've always been way more of a basketball fan. I can talk way more about basketball than I can hockey. I don't really know much about hockey, but the past few years, I've really kind of gravitated more towards hockey because of the fact that the Panthers are good now. But I mean, as the Heat, like, I mean, I was always, like I said, since a kid, I've always was a fan of the Heat. The Heat and the Sixers. I loved Allen Iverson when I was a kid. That was shit. By the way, did you guys see that they're doing a little mini doc of the 2001 season of the Sixers? I am pumped for that. I want to watch that so bad because I will. That season was, I think I was like 5 years. That's how I got into basketball. I remember watching Allen Iverson that season and being amazed. And Allen Iverson from then on was always my favorite athlete across all sports ever. Like I loved watching that. And then they got absolutely pummeled by the Lakers. But I will never forget like how hard he carried that team to the finals that year, that 2002 finals or 2000, whatever it was. But that was insane. I'm really excited to see that documentary that's about to come out about all that.
Yeah. Speaking of basketball, let's transition over to the other basketball team we're talking about. We've been talking about this big series. Obviously, as we're recording this today, they're playing tonight. So by the time this comes out, I don't know, they might have played 4 or 5 games. Who knows? The series might be over by the time because, Julian, he's our producer. He did excellent sound work earlier. We don't know he's going to post this, but let's talk about the Heat.
It's going to go out tomorrow.
The Heat series.
Yo, listen, first and foremost, recording last episode, the Heat were not currently in the finals yet. So let's have a round of applause for Gabe's team. I'm surprised I don't feel this energy coming from the screen it's that the culture, they are in the finals.
It's the culture.
The Heat are in the finals.
Also, right? Too.
So before this finals matchup, let's talk about that Game 7 game.
We're coming about Game 6?
Let's talk about Game 7. Yeah,
real quick. I was almost spot on. I was like, they're going to win Game 4. Then they're going to go. No, they're gonna win. The Celtics are gonna win Game 4. Then they're gonna go back home to Boston and win. But then I had the Heat winning in Game 6 when they came back home. But that's the only difference. But I was pretty much spot on that. I was like, Gabe, I don't know, man. The Celtics could easily win 2 in a row because they steal one away in Miami, and then you go back home and they take what literally happened exactly how I laid out. The only difference was the Heat didn't close it out at home, which is a little upsetting because it made the. It's always upsetting seeing like trying to do trophy celebrations and like the away fans.
In the opposite arena.
No, I love it.
It's a place.
I love it. I love it. I live for it. It's nothing. There's nothing better.
There were rumors that this was Jimmy's master plan was to lose Game 6 on purpose at home just so he could win away, and have that revenge from last season against the Celtics.
Let's not talk
They
about
already
this.
won away though.
Game 6, they added, extra seconds at the end of the game. By the way, that last play, Derek White, amazing play. This is a great play. To me, that last play on Game 6, I gave it up to the basketball gods. He just put it up. Either way, because if you look at the way that defensive play at the end play for the Miami Heat, there was no way because Jason Tatum was coming off of one end, Derek White was coming off the other end. If there's a rebound, they were going to score either way on that play. I feel like
listen, all the credit on that play goes to Derek White. He inbounded the ball and followed the shot.
Ran. Plus, here's the thing, Derek,
and instead of just staring at the shooter like everyone else does towards the end of the game, he ran straight towards the hoop, picked up the rebound, put it right back in.
Miami had no defense. They had nobody blocking that inside. Duncan Robinson got lost because he went to go chase Tatum, who the ball got inbounded to, and obviously there was a spatial difference. Whatever, he ran in there. Last seconds, I gave it up to the basketball gods. Listen, that's just a great play. It's just like one of these things.
Perfect bounce. It was the perfect bounce off the rim. Like if it went any other direction, that was a one in a million right there.
I give it up to the basketball gods, but
he set himself up. He set himself up. He went straight towards the hoop, right, as you should. Yeah. And he inbounded the ball. So guess what? There was no plan to have a body on him. Nobody assumed that he will run to the basket.
Yeah.
You can't assume that.
Yeah. So that's Game 6. I give it up to the basketball gods. Listen, I wasn't right. I told you guys on this podcast, I was not afraid. If they lose tonight, I think it was like game 5. It's like if they lose tonight.
No one thought he had time. I forgot I was muted when I tried to say it.
I know at home Gabe was shitting himself Game 7 until they got off on a hot start.
I wasn't shitting.
And he kind of relaxed. He got calm. All right, I know you were nervous heading into Boston. It's okay to admit.
Don't worry about nothing. Boston, they have a terrible homestand. I don't know what their home record is for this playoff season, but it's terrible. It's like barely 500. And I wasn't afraid to go into Boston. This isn't like the 2008 Boston Celtics. This ain't Ray Allen and Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett Boston Celtics. I'm not worried about going on the road. On the road against these Celtics? These trash-ass Celtics with fucking Jaylen Brown can't dribble? Okay, this guy bouncing, he has to bounce it with 2 hands because he can fucking barely dribble. Jaylen Brown, is that what I have to worry about? Are you serious? Anyway,
you're not scared about Marcus Smart? You ain't terrified? He don't got you shaking in your boots?
Oh, Marcus Smart, that flip flopper. This guy is a fucking dolphin the way he flops.
You're not scared of Al Horford?
Al Horford, listen. He
locked you up. I'll tell you that right now.
He changed his game. Somehow, Al Horford, the guy is 78 years old, changed his game. He can shoot threes now. Him and Brook Lopez, I don't know how they shoot threes, but all of a sudden they can fucking do it. I don't know how it happened in this playoffs. But shout out to Al Horford. Dominican, by the way. Shout out to
Al Horford will always be a Hawks player in my eyes. Like every time, if you say Al Horford, I always picture him in a Hawks jersey. I always will.
Savvy veteran. But yo, Game 7. Listen, this shit was a wrap, dude. This shit should have been a wrap in Game 6. Game 7 comes through. We fucking blow them out 20 points. I mean, if that ain't an ass whooping. Yeah, you know what? They made it close. They made it tight. But guess what? Fucking Joe Mazzulla was not going to win this fucking series. I'm sorry. We have the better player. We had the better player in Jimmy Butler on the court. We have the better coach. More important, we have the better coach in Spoelstra. By the way, you want to talk about stats? Where's the stat? God damn it, I fucking deleted it. The stat of the day. Let me pull it up on Twitter while I pull it up. Yeah, this shit was a wrap, man. This shit should have been a wrap. Game 6 should have been over. But guess what? We had to go to Game 7. We go on the road. I like it. I like seeing a quiet.
By the way,
Duncan Robinson
was muted for that.
What's up?
My mic was muted for that Game 6 talk. That shit was insane, dude. Like you said, I mean, who would have guessed that he shot it early too? That was another thing. Was that he shot it early, so he had enough time to get the rebound. Like most people would have waited till right when the buzzer hits. So I mean, that shit was insane.
Well, since you're bringing that up, fuck that shot it early shit. They added time on the clock, so it should have expired. So that's a whole other conversation to get into. They added like 0.7 or whatever
0.9.
It was. 0.9, and the time should have expired. So
I mean, we all know the NBA is fake, though, right?
Yeah, man. Did you read the script? I guess the script.
Yeah.
Somebody messed up the script.
I mean, they needed to, like, I mean, you can't have back-to-back sweeps in the Eastern Conference Final. I mean, you have to make it interesting for the ratings. I mean,
oh my God.
JoJo just didn't read the script. JoJo didn't read the script, Gabe.
Game 7 ever.
Exactly.
Apparently on TNT. So
you would have thought it was written.
But, you know,
listen, I'm surprised I didn't see Julian out here with the pots and pants at Calle Ocho, right? I'm surprised he didn't drive down.
No, he's not driving from Hollywood.
From your humble abode.
He's not driving from Hollywood. That's too far of a drive, bro.
The Benson pots and pans.
Did you hear any noise? I know JoJo definitely heard some noise.
I'm like right here. Yeah. Listen, man, it was dope. I was actually contemplating on going out myself. But I was like, you know what? I work early. I'm good. I'm going to stay inside and just celebrate. You know, I have my LeBron jersey on. So, you know, it was good. It was good to enjoy, good to watch. Heard some noise outside. Obviously, I'm right by the arena as well. So I can imagine what it was over there. You know, they had a watch party going on. So,
Gabe, you could probably like answer this, but like I always think it's so weird, and maybe it's because they've been the most winning team in Miami, but like you would never think Miami, like the number one team in the city would be the Heat. Like out of all the
other
other
this past years, why not? Why not?
Yeah, why?
I just like basketball just doesn't really fit the demographic here. I just would have never guessed. Like,
but I feel like it's the history though. They've actually won, and you had LeBron.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, other than like, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Because like, they won, and like, but like, I mean, I don't know. Like, but even those years when they were bad, like post LeBron years or like post 2006, like these people, like that arena still fills up, and I just always think it's very odd. It's like the only sport like people show out for down here, like because Dolphins Stadium's dead.
We don't even have a soccer team. We already know the history with the Marlins, so that eliminates 2.
Man, that Panthers hurt me. They don't have a soccer team.
Like I said, Miami does not have a soccer team. You guys are in Broward.
In Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, right. So Panthers are in Broward. Dolphins are 50-50. I feel like it used to fill up back in the day. Right now, I think ticket prices are too expensive, and they haven't really had too many winning seasons. I mean, they were on verge last year to doing something great. Obviously, Tua went out. So, I mean, you got star players, Tyreek Hill, right, to bring in some fans into the building as well, like some exciting pieces. So, I mean, Julian, listen, you had LeBron, you had Wade, you had Bosch. That created a whole new demographic of fans.
Yeah, but I think it started even before that.
I'm a product of the Heatles because I didn't start getting to basketball until Dwayne Wade literally got drafted. Like around the time he got drafted in 2003.
I think it was before the LeBron stuff. It was kind of like
I was in high school.
Yeah, but it wasn't as impacted. Yes, they had a good fan base.
Bro, when Shaq came, like that was.
You're not telling me post 2006, 2007, 8, 9, 10 that they were selling out every game. Yeah, that wasn't the case.
Wait, you're saying from 2006 to 2010?
Yeah.
The Heatles,
like they had new fans and they were passionate. They won a trophy, right? Yeah. Majority of the fans were going in to see D Wade anyways, right? He already established himself as a top 5 player, but the LeBron era really brought out a whole new demographic of fans in South Florida. And Gabe was here, man. The passion was that people still talk about that era. I don't hear people talk about 2006.
Yeah. They don't, because you know what?
It didn't last as long.
When Dwayne Wade got drafted, I think that was an 2003 draft. That's when I started following all the basketball because they started making promise. They were like, "Yo, we're gonna make a playoffs, or we're gonna go to the first round. We're gonna get past the first round." When Dwayne Wade got here, he's a player I fell in love with, and you know that big trade, that 2006 year. That was my first year of college. So, me going away to Tallahassee, being from Miami, and I have a whole team to root for. that made me fall more in love with the Heat. So that era of Heat, that Dwayne Wade era when he got drafted, that's my era. That's when I fell in love with basketball more often. Like I've been around.
For Alonzo Mourning.
I was alive. I love Zoe, but they never, the fucking Knicks fucking pounded their head in all the time. So I was around for Zoe and PJ Brown and whoever else who wanted Steve Smith. That era, I was around. I was alive for it, but as a small kid, I wasn't, I was like 8, 9 years old. I wasn't in love with it. When I got older, like 15, 16, 17, that's when I fell in love with basketball. I was like, yo, we actually have a team that can compete because we always get our head pounded in by fucking Reggie Miller, the Pacers, the fucking Pistons are winning games. Everybody, the Knicks are good. 1999, that was the year before. I was in middle school, 1999. The Knicks are going to the fucking finals.
Pistons.
It's that Dwayne. I fell in love with the Dwayne Wade era, and that's why he's like one of my favorite South Florida athletes ever. So yeah, as if you look at the history of the franchises, Dolphins been around since like 60s and 70s. So they're the oldest. As far as South Florida teams, Dolphins have always been around. The Heat came back, in the 90s, the late 80s, 90s. That's when the Heat franchise started, but they'd actually, when Pat Riley came down, and he came from New York, obviously they call him Pat the Rat, whatever the fuck. He started his run there as a coach, and then eventually became an executive. So if you're looking at the run of franchises, you have the Dolphins that have the longest. Then you have the Heat. The Marlins didn't come till.
Isn't the
Marlins is 93.
The Marlins were before the Heat?
90. No, the Marlins were after the Heat. Marlins were like 93. I believe. You gotta hit with the numbers. Marlins were 93. Panthers were also around that mid-time.
95, Panthers, I think, too.
Because this is all Wayne Huizenga. Wayne Huizenga was the owner for the Dolphins. Wayne Huizenga was the Panthers. Wayne Huizenga was, I forget what else kind of shit he owned. But yeah, so if you look at the history of South Florida sports, Dolphins have always been a singular. But to go back to what, Jojo, you were talking about earlier, in the past, like since the 2000s, the Heat have given us the most winning. They've given us the most to root for and most to cheer for. As much as there's deep Dolphins fans, there's old ass Dolphins fans that've been around.
And UM too.
In England, especially UM from the 80s.
Yeah, I mean UM from the 80s.
A lot of football. But since the 2000s, who's done the most winning? It's been the Miami Heat. They've given us the most winning. They've given the most to root for. Yeah. And they've been successful.
I just think it's funny how you see these Cubans so hyped for basketball. Like, I don't know, it's just so odd.
Bro, it's just funny.
But yeah, I get it. I mean, it's just kind of the fan base here. The fan base, Miami will always be a market where it's like people won't show up unless you're winning. It just always will be. Most of Florida,
that's the point I was trying to reference to. I was like, look at the teams we have. Aside from
it will never be a Northeast
ethnicity, right? Aside from the race, ethnicity, or heritage, because I guess that's where we were trying to go, right? Why isn't soccer or baseball more popular here? I'm like, the Heat,
we're young. We just started
in our backyard, and they've done the most winning. And if you have an option to go to any of these games out here in Miami, that's where you're gonna go.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just what it is.
I want to go back to the franchise. Like, yo, look at the history of MLB,
and that's where the celebrities go to. The celebrities go to the Heat games.
How long is the MLB? The MLB's been around since what? The 1900s, bro. The MLB is fucking America's game, right? It's been since fucking
1800s.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt was president. Like, you know what I mean? It's a long ass history. NFL's been around since what? The 50s, the 40s, 50s. I don't know when.
The 30s, 40s, something like that. Yeah.
If you compare from when the league started, or let's say NBA. NBA's been around since the 70s. They didn't combine the ABA to to late 70s or whatever. 70s, 20 years later is when the Heat, Miami gets a team. If you look at the NFL, like it's like 20, 30 years later, Miami gets a team. If you look at soccer, how long has MLS been around, and like how many years later? So if you're looking at, you're comparing ingrained fan bases, like Miami in general, as South Florida in general, is a very young sports team. You know what I mean? It's been some years now, like especially MLB baseball. It's been 30 years since.
I guess the only ones that are really ingrained is Dolphins and UM.
Dolphins, UM.
Grandfathers.
Sure, yeah.
Those are the oldest,
then, right? So like I said, like I really feel like it's how the Dolphins been performing lately, and these damn ticket prices. Hence why the arena hasn't really been, sold out as of late.
I also think too, I think people here don't like driving far either, and with the stadium being in Miami Gardens and traffic being worse than ever with everybody from up north moving down here, I I think a lot of people are like, man, do I want to spend like $80, $90 a ticket for nosebleeds, and I got to drive an hour up to North Dade in the middle of traffic and find parking and like all this shit. Like, I guess like the arena is like very central, so you could just like anybody, like everybody's kind of the same distance from the arena.
Do you want to know when you can tell your fan base is sorry or your team is sorry? Is when you always have more fans at your games when they're rooting for the opposite team. So listen, Giants are coming into town to play the Dolphins. You know that shit's going to be packed, right? So if you're looking at the opposition to fill your like, who's even rooting for the home team anymore? Yeah, those games should be packed whether you play the best.
I know the Dolphins have that problem, but is it that bad? Like
I don't think for the Dolphins. I don't think for the Dolphins.
No, Dolphins aren't.
I know it is a problem.
The Marlins, when the Cup
are mixed, right? Like you can't even go and enjoy Yankee Stadium. You could play the shittiest team in the league. That game is still going to be packed. They're like, it doesn't matter. They don't only go to the hype.
When the Bills came to the Dolphin Stadium, I remember seeing on TV. That was 50-50. A fuck ton of Bills. Yeah, it was a lot of Bills fans. But that man, that's just your
fan base. You know what, 90%, bro. It should be 85
that's
to 90%
a Florida.
Of your
that's a Florida thing too. That happens for the Jags. It happens for all the Tampa teams. It's just, man, you get so many people from up north that hold on to that fandom. Like, bro, like when I saw when I went to that Jags Raiders game last year, I'm like, where the fuck all these Raider fans come from? I ain't never met a Raiders fan in my life, and they just came out because they'll travel from all over Florida, wherever they moved from, to just see that one game. And it's like, I don't know. I guess that's just a tough thing. But
here's what I say about that.
You go to the Heat games, and Panthers are the same way too. You go to a Panthers game, bro, when the Capitals are playing, when the Blackhawks, the Rangers. Like it's a fuck ton of those fans. It's so annoying. It's so fucking frustrating.
And that's what I'm saying. Like institutionally, South Florida is very young. If you look at the leagues versus when we got a team in South Florida, very young. So like we don't have established history. Like we don't have like the Cubs. If the Cubs play the Marlins, there's tons. There's like 70% Cubs fans.
Yeah,
if the Yankees come to South Florida, it's a tons of Yankees fans. If there's Red Sox, tons of Red Sox fans. And like I said, we're just growing. Like if you look at when the league started versus when South Florida got the team, there's a huge gap. And historically, you know, as we bring it back to what we were talking about earlier, the Miami Heat have given us the most history. They're giving us the most like generational like pass down. Like, yo, remember this team. Remember the 06 Dwayne Wade Shaq. Remember the fucking Heatles. Remember the fucking Jimmy Butlers. They're giving us the most winning right now. So I'm not surprised that, you know, Miami has turned to a basketball team. It's traditionally been a football team because, like I said, the Miami Dolphins have been around since the 70s.
City.
Yeah, like you said, Miami Dolphins, generally football. This is a basketball town, dude. They've given us the most winning most recently, and that's what fans are going to gravitate towards. You know what I mean?
Bro,
yeah, I guess it's kind of like where
when the Dolphins start winning again, or when
and the Dolphins are good. South Florida's looking good. South Florida's looking good.
Starts winning. So, and you know it's crazy, like Gabe bringing that because like the Jags, for example, they started in '95. So most people, like even like my dad and stuff, like when he was growing up, he didn't have the Jaguars like I did. Like he became a fan when it came on when they came here. But like most people in Jacksonville, like some of my friends' dads and stuff, like
Georgia,
they were Dolphins fan
or Atlanta Falcons or Braves.
No, it's mostly Dolphins. So a lot of people in Jacksonville were either Dolphins fans or so like when Dolphins do come up there, like there's a good amount of Dolphins fans that come out. Dolphins and Cowboys. Like a lot of people just before they had a team, those were those teams and they just kind of stuck by them. And because Miami Dolphins were the only like Florida, closest team in Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers, they've been around for a long time, but they've been historically terrible for decades. They were the Browns, like from the 80s to the 90s. The Bucs were like the fucking Browns. They're awful. The creamsicle jerseys, but
so you know, and like I said, that I think that relates back to a generational thing. It's like, okay, maybe they didn't have a team, but you know, they retired, they get older. They had a team when they were young. Like your dad had a team when he was young and moved to a place, or he grew up in a place, and then now they have a new thing. It's like now that new thing has to grow that generational, you know, interest or whatever, you know, depending on whatever sport it is, basketball, football.
And people
baseball.
Say that too, like at least for like people are saying like, wow, the fan base is way more diehard. Like back when the Jazz were winning in the 90s, it was more like a wine and cheese crowd. Like that's kind of what they called it. Like people were there to like kind of be there. But now, like with us winning now, it's like, oh no, like these people are diehard fans. Like these are like people like
they've been through the hard years.
20s.
They've been through the hard years. When it was low. Yeah, nothing to root for.
I lived my whole life. Yeah, I lived my whole life. Like I don't remember the 90s when they were winning. Like I don't remember my whole life. They've been ass cheeks except for 1 year. except for one
good year.
1 year in 2017, and then I guess this past year.
Yeah.
But like
Jacksonville year, Jacksonville.
Oh man, but
yeah, that's crazy.
I guess let's end it off on our predictions of who we think is going to win the finals. So we haven't. So actually,
game basis for the entire series.
So to the fans out there, we've came up with some facts. We want to start doing, I don't know, like our weekly interesting facts related to the topics that we're talking about. Gabe, do you want to start first? Do you want me to go?
I'll go first.
Didn't do his assignment this week, so
it's gonna be heat.
I felt
it's gonna be heat related. I think I had it on ESPN.
So line it up, say like, and like I don't know, maybe have us guess or something, and me and JoJo try to guess it. So give us the question, and then.
So the stats that I had was from ESPN Stats and Info. It's relating to the Heat run. We've been talking about this generational, about like teams that are relevant now, and I just mentioned that I feel like Miami Heat is a basketball team. So what stat do you think I could pull up that would relate to how the Heat have taken over South Florida?
I'm confused what the question is.
Yeah, listen. So if you're asking us what stat we think you picked, and it could be what attendance, it could be viewership, it could be what. Let me guess. You're going into
team accomplishment. Team accomplishment
that they've done this year. Like what is their? Okay, so all what right, they did this year.
They're the first. I mean, they're the second 8 seed to ever make a finals.
That would be an interesting stat. I believe this since the play-in, because the NBA instituted the NBA play-in,
and they're the first play-in team to make it to the finals.
Exactly. That would be a nice stat. That would be a nice stat, but that's not the stat I'm talking about.
Give us the stat, and we'll guess the number. Give us the stat, and we'll guess the number.
The Miami Heat made their first appearance in the NBA Finals in 2006. So again, like we talked about earlier about Dwayne Wade, that Shaq year. They've been back how many times since, including this season? How many times have they been back?
7 times they've been to the finals.
Exactly. Miami
since 2006?
Seven times.
Including 2006. So since it's been 6.
They've been back
because they have the four LeBron years, 2020, and now this year.
Yeah.
Check it.
So I forgot. I for some reason in my mind, the LeBron years they made it 3 times. I don't remember the fourth. And then and then the bubble, and then now here. Yeah.
And by the way, Spoelstra has been coaching for 15 years since then. I believe that 06 year was his 3rd year, and 2006 was his 3rd year coaching when LeBron came. It was his 3rd year.
Yeah. Radley was the coach in 2006.
So yeah, that's my stat of the day. It's the Miami have made their since the 2006 season, they made it back 6 times, 7 times including this year. That's the most in the NBA during that span. So the most NBA appearances in the finals since 2006.
And that is kind of shocking, right? Granted, they had 4 in a row with the LeBron era, right? I'll say the Big 3 era. And then 2020 was a pleasant surprise. But this year is even more a surprise. Like, we had 0 expectations of that. We actually expected them more last year than this year, based on how they performed in the regular season. So that's crazy. But it's. Do you feel like it's underwhelming that they've made it both times as an underdog? So you didn't expect to win. Do you like that, or do you prefer being on top and like, yo, we have a great chance of actually getting there and winning?
I feel like when you have a better team, I feel like the pressure is higher. Like that Heatles team, that first year, every game felt like a playoff game. Like, because there's criticism going to come from everywhere. They're like, oh, LeBron, because there's a lot of hate of LeBron joining the Heatles, and because we're at that time we already had Dwayne Wade. He was whispering of like he might go to Chicago, whatever, blah blah blah. We got him back. Then we got Chris Bosh. I'm like, okay, this is going to be great. Like whatever. Then after came the decision, and we got the Heatles. So like when those 3 came together, like the pressure elevated. This was a fucking boil. This was a pressure cooker. And every game felt like a playoff. So this year actually feels like nobody expected them. They came out of nowhere. They fucking toughed it out. They came out as an AC seed, a wild card. They beat one of the best teams, the Milwaukee Bucks. You want to talk about the series, whatever. They beat the Knicks, and you beat the number 1 and number 2 team in the Bucks, and you beat the Boston Celtics. You beat the number 1 and number 2 team. Those 2 teams were expected from the beginning of the year to go to the playoffs, from the middle of the year to go to the playoffs, from the end of the year to go to the playoffs, and we beat them. And I feel like I said, we've been forged in fire, and this being a Cinderella team, it's been exciting for me. I'm happy either way of whatever way this goes. I'm just happy with whatever way. So this team being a post LeBron, underdog team, I'm very happy with what they've done this far, what they've done so far this year.
And Julian, you were gonna say something.
Oh, okay. So my fact. All right, here we go. So the Nuggets are entering their first NBA Finals. That leaves 5 more teams that have never been to the finals. What are those 5 teams?
Who do you want to go
been to the final? Ooh,
you guys just rattle them off together.
All right,
you guys work together.
JoJo's a better basketball.
Sacramento.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Nope.
Charlotte definitely never been to the finals.
What?
Charlotte is 1.
New Orleans Pelicans.
Yep, that's 2.
Atlanta Hawks.
That's all East teams.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
They've been to finals. Well, maybe back in like the 70s. Maybe they used to.
I'm mad at this.
The Knicks have been before.
Okay. The Grizzlies.
Grizzlies. That's a good one.
That's 3.
Okay.
Got 2 more.
Now Utah Jazz.
Wait, what do you guys have?
So we have. What do you say?
The Pelicans, the Grizzlies.
He said.
Oh no! Wait, no. OKC did make it.
I'm thinking the history of all of NBA.
Yeah, and you said the Hornets, right?
The Hornets.
That's the prior team.
Yeah. Okay, so you got 2 more teams.
Seattle SuperSonics.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean they changed.
These are modern teams. These are teams.
They changed to Oklahoma City, which was been never.
Yeah. I mean OKC.
Yeah, the Hornets didn't make it. New Orleans is not 1-1 at all. Whether the Hornets or the Pelicans. All right.
I'm thinking the East. I gotta go to West because I'm not thinking of a lot of West Coast teams.
Who's shitty in the West? I feel like every team in the
last
West.
2 are the West.
The Clippers, not the Clippers. I know they recently.
That's 4.
Clippers.
Really, they've never been.
Clippers. They've
Really?
never been.
Wow.
That's 1 more.
Who's a shitty team in the West?
Who's a shitty?
I thought the Clippers was wild too. I thought they made it before.
I was gonna say Utah. I was gonna say Utah, but that's Karl Malone and them. They've been to the finals. They played the Lakers.
John Stockton. All
yeah,
that.
They've gone. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second here. Portland Trailblazers.
They've been.
Nope. They've been.
When?
I don't know when. I don't know when they made it. I just know they didn't. They made it.
Damn. It's around Gabe's era.
Is it Toronto? Not Toronto.
No, that's in the East, and they won. Toronto
and they won one game like 2 years.
I'm trying to think of Canada. Dude. I don't know.
That's the only Canadian.
Well, there was the Grizzlies because they were in Vancouver before. So I assume I don't know, but
no, they didn't. Yeah, so you got
who has a shitty logo? Who has a shitty uniform that I don't care about?
Sure Sacramento's gone to the finals?
Sacramento has gone. I think the
Jazz.
Era.
No. Oh wait, the Suns. The Suns have never been to the finals. Suns?
They've gone. Yeah, they lost.
They just went. That was
to the finals.
That was the first time they went. So they knocked it out.
Yo, we can't think of one more. Yo, let me pull up this.
No, you can't Google the answer.
No.
Give us. So here's just give it.
Wait, I'm trying to think if I missed.
It's a Western Conference team. That's your only hint.
So we said the Clippers. We said fucking. I'm trying to think.
It's a little embarrassing.
It snows there.
Not
Denver.
Colorado.
No,
Denver's now breaking it. That was part of the question.
Okay.
That's the reason why I brought the fact.
Shit, it snows there.
I can't. I don't know, man. I'm dumbfounded. You got to tell me.
It snows there.
It's
an animal.
Bro, just tell me. I can't take this anymore.
Yeah, I
The Timberwolves. Okay. Oh, Minnesota.
The Timberwolves.
Okay, Minnesota. Minnesota. That's why there's so much hype around Kevin Love and
Kevin Durant. I mean, Garnett never made it.
KG was there. Marbury was there for a little bit. They teamed up.
Andrew Wiggins.
Rudy, wasn't it Rudy? Ricky Rubio. Was it Ricky?
Ricky Rubio.
Ricky Rubio. Yeah. Yo, they expected this man to change the whole franchise when they drafted him. I don't understand.
Though, he had a good career, though. He had a really solid career. He was never like a superstar, but he was a better player than Andrew Wiggins turned out to be for them. Andrew Wiggins, there's so much hype around him coming out of college.
Yeah, but
he was like a guaranteed number one overall.
He's coming on his prime right now. Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, when you play with the Warriors, anything is possible.
Anything. Ricky Rubio on that team.
Bro, you're like the fourth option. You can shine. You don't have all the pressure on you.
But he did well.
That leaves those 5 teams left.
So say it one more time.
Finals.
Say it one more time.
So it's the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Timberwolves, the Hornets, and the Pelicans.
You said the Grizzlies wasn't one of them.
I did say it was. You guys said the Grizzlies.
we picked it. We picked it early. It was like a second.
You said, right, I think Jojo, you said Grizzlies, and I said,
Okay. My bad. We said like 30 teams.
Those are good facts. Those are good facts.
The majority of West Coast teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Hornets and the Pelicans they're like this. I mean that's almost the same fucking team. Like almost like
damn man. I mean,
but they put the Bobcats on there, but I was like, nah.
Yeah. It's the same Bobcats
Hornets. Yeah. Because even they were the original Hornets, but
I mean technically they all just swapped cities and teams.
Yeah. Seattle.
Like
because there was the Charlotte Hornets, then it went to New Orleans, and then they brought Michael Jordan brought Charlotte back for the Bobcats. And then he wanted the name back.
Yo, can you believe Charlotte Bobcats was even a thing? That's embarrassing. What the fuck was that?
That is bad. that logo was bad too. The colors, there's like an orange and like a blue and stuff.
New Orleans
Pelicans. The Pelicans is rough. Yeah,
that's really a thing.
No, I think it's cool,
I can't believe they gave up the name. I can't believe they're just like, you know what, this you got back.
Fucking Bobcats.
Man, it's good for New Orleans. Listen, I'm not gonna hate on all these teams. Again, I call them ugly logos I don't like.
We're gonna like 20 years are gonna pass, and we're gonna be like, yo, you guys remember the Charlotte Bobcats? People are gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's a myth. That's a legend.
Yeah, let's end it right here. Listen, we're in the middle of playoffs. NHL. NBA, MLB is going on, soccer's going on. We appreciate our Real Fans Podcast. Julian, tell them where they can find the stuff.
You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, and we're going to be on all the social media platforms from here on out. We're trying out this new fact thing, so if you guys like it, I think it's fun. I think it stimulates our mind, our sports knowledge. So, Gabe ended off here.
Real Fans Podcast. Thank you all for checking us out, subscribing.
Thank you for 100 subscribers.
Triple digit. Put the alarm.
The numbers are going up. The numbers are going up. He's going to produce it as we read out. Thank y'all. We'll see y'all next week with more playoffs. Right here. Real Fans Podcast. We're here.